comparing the life cycles of plants to the life cycles of animals, looking at what the similarities are and what the differences are.
It's time for vocabulary.
Life cycle, the stages a living thing goes through as it grows and it changes. Organism is any living thing. Aquarium, a habitat in which small fish and other water plants and animals are kept. A terrarium, a habitat in which small land plants and animals are kept. Egg, the first stage in the life cycle of insects and many other animals. Larva, the second stage of life for insects that go through complete metamorphosis, a young wingless form of many insects that looks different from the adult. Chrysalis, or pupa, the third stage of life for insects which go through incomplete metamorphosis, a non-moving stage when a larva change into adults. Adult, the last stage in the development of most plants and animals. Nymph is the second stage of life that insects go through which go through incomplete metamorphosis, a young wingless form of many insects that look similar to the adult. Stages, the orderly steps in the life cycle of a plant or an animal. Metamorphosis, a change in the physical form from immature to adult in two or more distinct stages.
So first things first, let's talk about the plant cycle. The reason we call it a cycle is because like a bicycle or a tricycle, the sickle part or cycle part means to go around. It means it has a starting point, an ending point, and then it starts back over again. Okay, so like with plants, plants start out as generally seeds, they get planted, they grow, then they produce some more seeds, that plant may die, but then more seeds grow, and the cycle of life continues.
As we look here at our plant life cycle anchor chart, we can see the word seed at the top. The seed is planted in the soil. The next step, if you follow the arrow, is germination. The seed grows into a sprout. Then if you follow arrow, we get roots and stems. The roots continue to grow and the stem pushes its way up to the soil's surface. And then we follow the arrow left to seedling. The seedling grows out of the ground. The stem and its leaves grow toward the sunlight. The leaves make food for the plant. You can see the sun in the plant. Then we go up, pollination. The plant grows flowers. The flowers are pollinated by bees, animals, or the wind, and the plant makes seeds. And then we can see the arrow return right back to the word seed because then the cycle starts over again. And that is the definition of a cycle. It continues to go in a circle.
And then we have the animal life cycle. As you can see here, we have an animal. This animal is a dog, a canine. Specifically, he is a pug. His name is Manning. Now, Manning is a part of a life cycle, and the animal life cycle is slightly different than the life cycle of plants.
This anchor chart gives us the life cycle of animals in two categories. On the left-hand side, we have animals that go through metamorphosis. On the right side, we have animals that do not go through metamorphosis. For example, the butterfly goes through 4 stages: the egg, the larvae, the pupa, and then the adult. That's the same for the frog. Egg, larvae, which is a tadpole, the froglet is the pupa, and the frog would be the adult. Now, the reason they go through metamorphosis is because before they get to their adult phase, they look different than they do in their pupa or their juvenile phase. Turtles look the same, just they're smaller in their adult versus juvenile phase. So they do not go through metamorphosis. Same thing with a chicken. A baby chicken looks pretty similar to an adult chicken, except for it's just smaller. However, frogs, they start out looking kind of like fish, and then they turn eventually into frogs. That means they go through metamorphosis, a major change. Same thing with the butterfly. Butterfly starts out looking, well, it starts out as a caterpillar, okay, and then it becomes a butterfly. It goes through a big change. That is metamorphosis. So going back to Manning here, Manning is an example of an animal that goes through a life cycle, but he does not go through metamorphosis. He is just a larger version of what he was when he was in his juvenile state. And now for a short video about the plant cycle.
As they grow, plants and animals may change a lot. For example, let's see what happens to beans. We eat beans. Beans are also seeds. To plant a bean, we make a little hole in the ground and drop the bean inside. In a few days, the bean sends out roots. These roots gather water and nutrients. Then the bean sprouts a leaf. We usually plant beans in rows, and over the coming weeks, more and more leaves grow. Soon, the beans form a big green leafy row. Now the bean plants are adults. The adult plants make flowers. Flowers create seeds. Here we can see a little bean pod starting to grow where just days ago a flower bloomed. The bean seeds are protected inside these long, thin green pods. We can pick the pods to cook and eat. Or if we open one, inside are seeds. The seeds will dry and darken, and we could plant them if we wanted. The seeds would grow into adult plants with flowers, which would create even more beans to plant and eat. Many different kinds of plants grow flowers, sometimes very pretty ones, and make seeds. Grass in the park and the tallest trees all started out from seeds. The changes plants make as they grow are called a life cycle. For most plants, the life cycle starts with a seed, which then grows to an adult plant, which makes flowers, which then make more seeds, and the cycle starts again.
So why do we describe the plant life cycle as a cycle? And now a short video about the animal life cycle.
Life cycle of a butterfly. Objective: to learn the different stages in the life cycle of a butterfly. A butterfly is an insect. It lays eggs from which its babies will hatch. Let's look at the different key stages in the life cycle of a butterfly. A female butterfly lays hundreds of eggs, usually on the underside of a leaf. The egg of a butterfly is usually round or conical in shape. After a few days, a tiny worm-like larva will emerge from the egg. The larva of a butterfly is called a caterpillar. The caterpillar begins to eat the leaves and grows in size. As the caterpillar grows, it sheds its skin many times. After a few days, the larva stops eating and weaves a protective structure called the pupa around itself. The pupa stage is also called the chrysalis. The pupa is found hanging from the stems or under the leaves. After some days, inside the pupa, the larva will transform into an adult butterfly, which will emerge from the pupa. The process of changing from one form of larva to a different form of adult is called metamorphosis. Summary: the first stage in the life cycle of a butterfly is the egg. The second stage is the larva or caterpillar. The third stage is called the pupa or chrysalis. The fourth stage is the adult.
So what's the reason that a butterfly goes through metamorphosis and we say that dogs and cats and things don't go through metamorphosis? So in conclusion, we can tell that the plant life cycle and the animal life cycle are similar. One of the biggest differences being that the animal life cycle, some animals go through metamorphosis, meaning they completely change the way they look and they function as animals. And then there's another set of animals like dogs and cats and things that don't do that. So lastly, you're going to have your check for understanding or your exit ticket. Just want to say, have a great day. Lamphere out. So here's our exit ticket. Remember, you can take a photo of this and either email it to me or submit it through the assignments section of Microsoft Teams. So the question is, one way that plant and animal life cycles are alike is that both plants and animals, A, produce offspring that are similar to the parents, B, stop growing after the first 12 years of life, C, have young that must be raised, or D, grow at the same rate.